Hey, what's up everyone? So today's recipe I'm super excited for. This is going to be Romanian Mici. Now, it's not going to be traditional, but I will tell you that Mici is so freaking good. If you have not had it, it's amazing. My wife is Romanian. We spent our honeymoon in Romania and we ate Mici on the streets all the time. It's a really good street food. And so it translates in Romanian to little, basically. And what they are is sausages that aren't encased, and you grill them up and you just eat them with some mustard, some fries, and traditionally a beer goes with them. Super good. And if you do try this recipe, I will definitely say stay around 3 to 4 Mici max. Don't eat more than that because they do have baking soda in them. So as good as they are, you don't want to overload yourself with them. But this is a very quick, very easy recipe. It's awesome, and more Americans should actually eat this because it's amazing. I can't believe that we don't have more Romanian food here in America with as many Romanian immigrants that we actually have. It's insane because their cuisine is awesome. So this recipe, again, is not going to be super traditional. It's going to be as traditional as possible, but keep in mind, if you're Romanian and you're watching this, you know that it differs upon region when you're making Mici and any other of your recipes. So this one I got as traditional as I could, but I put a twist on it, which I have done in the past, and Romanians have approved of this one, so I guess I'm doing pretty damn good. I don't know. So let's go ahead and get started so we can dig in.
All right, so we've got a pound of each here, which is Wagyu beef, ground lamb, and ground pork, all ground. And you want this really fatty, so you can add more pork to make it more fatty. It always helps in the process. To that, I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of baking soda, 5 to 6 cloves of minced garlic, followed by 2 tablespoons of salt and black pepper each. I started with ground, but my grinder went to crap on me, so I went to regular ground pepper. After that, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1/3 cup of beef bone broth, followed by 1/4 cup of beer. Now, this one part isn't traditional. I use a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of brandy, and then I go back to tradition by adding a tablespoon of paprika and dried thyme as well, and then I give it a good mix. And what we want here is a really good tacky feeling. If it isn't tacky after mixing, add a little bit more beer until it feels more tacky. Once that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and go to a pan, and we want to make a cylinder type of shape. That's how Mici comes out, and it should fit in the palm of your hand. And you always want to test it out on a pan to make sure it tastes good. It's nice and fluffy. Meat should always bounce. It should be juicy. If you cut into it, you should be able to see the juice just pour out. So here I am just patting it, making sure I can form it, and then I test it in a pan before going to the grill with each piece. All right, so you might be wondering, oh, wait, but how do I form them? And I will tell you. So they have to be cylindrical, like we talked about earlier, like a cylinder. So they should fit in the palm of your hand. And what I like to do is just gently squeeze them as if I have about a ping pong in my palm. And then I tap both sides. I give them a nice tap with my fingers to make sure that they're nice and cylindrical before going to the grill.
All right, so I have my Mici here. So I've got 2 trays here of Mici, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, can't even count, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pieces of Mici here, if I can even count, to save my life. Ideally, you would put these in the freezer because they're going to hold much better on your grill when you turn on high heat, but I don't have that kind of time. Some of these I'm going to freeze for later, but the ones I'm going to use today, I'm going to drop them on the grill. And notice the shape, okay? They look like little cylinders. And I like to make them a little bit oversized. And what I mean by oversized, when I'm fitting them in the palm of my hand, I like them to be where I can't close my fingers, right? I can only just maybe like 1/4 close of my fingers when I'm forming them. And the reason is this is ground beef. And ground beef tends to shrink when we cook it under heat. So I don't want these to be very tiny because then they will be tasteless. And I don't want them to be too big because they're going to be raw in the center. So you want to find that happy medium zone. And what I mean by that is probably if I took my finger, which is just this portion of my finger here, is probably like a half an inch. If I put my finger here side by side, I can see that the meat stands about a half an inch tall to my finger. That is a good portion. And I can take my finger as well and go side by side with it, and I know this is at least 3 inches in length. So don't get too technical, but definitely don't make these too small. Don't make them too big. Just the right size, a medium size, 3 inches long by probably a half an inch thick in depth, and you will be fine. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the grill. And when I start the grill, I'm gonna start it on high heat because I want it on a high heat, and then I'm gonna reduce it a little bit to a medium to high heat and put these on.
So the meat is going right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of beer. I just got a little Modelo here. Not super traditional, but it's fine. It's an ale. And I'm just going to just spritz it on here. If you have a bottle, it works a lot better, but I could only find a can. So just put it here on each piece. And this is a really important part when you're making meat. You want to use the beer. If you go to Romania or you see videos like... Mark Wiens has a really good video on his trip to Romania and eating meat. And when you do it, you want to add the beer because it rehydrates the meat. So we could actually do another round of this. All right, we'll leave those there for a little bit. I'll flip them. I'll add some more beer, and then they'll be ready to be eaten. All right, so our meat is going really well. So how you know when to flip it is that half of it at the bottom will start turning gray, and it's really loose. You can move it from your grill. This one right over here, it's not doing too well, but that's fine. It's kind of breaking apart, but that's all right. So I'm just going to flip these over. There we go. I'm going to give them a gentle squeeze as I flip them to keep the form. All right, there we go. All right, and then a little bit more beer. Take 2 fingers here. And the thing is that they have to be squishy. You don't want these overcooked. This isn't like making a burger patty where you want it well done. It's got to be a little bit pink in the center, of course, to health regulations, of course, but you don't want it to be overcooked. So see how this is squishy? I just want to sear the bottom of all of these, and I'll show you the end result on how they should be. And this is a key. If this is your first time making this, it's okay. Try it in the pan a few times, and then you can bring it to the grill out of the same batch. So you got this. You can make it. It's an amazing recipe. We'll let these sit here for a little bit longer, maybe like 5 minutes, 8 minutes max, 10 if it has to be. And these will be ready to eat. I want to squish this one down a little bit though, just so I can get some of that rareness out of there. Get it nice and cooked. All right, we'll be back. All right, so everything's ready to be pulled now. So I'm gonna start pulling my meat. Pull it off of here. I'm gonna let this rest just a little bit, just so that the juices can go back into the meat. Maybe a few minutes before we eat. And that's it. I'm gonna turn this off and clean my grill in just a second. And we're done.
All right, so we're all done. Just made the meat and everything, and as you can see, it's super juicy when I cut into it and I squeeze the actual meat. This is a really important part. You want to make sure that it does come out juicy. And a pro tip, if you do reheat it, like the next day, you can actually just steam it over some boiling water. So typically here I have my platter, and so as you can see, I've got the meat and some fries. It's traditionally served with fries. They'll have like just yellow mustard with the meat sometimes. I like to do Dijon, but typically they do yellow mustard. So typically, you know, a lot of people in Romania will eat meat with a beer, so I've got a Romanian beer here. Not Pippin that brand, but I'm gonna go ahead and try this now. very excited about this. Very good. Very good. Super easy recipe to make. It's very tasty. It's great for a day when you're barbecuing on the grill. That's how they do it. I highly recommend making this recipe. So go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll have some more recipes in the future. I'll have some beer too. Cheers.